My name is Brett May, 41 years old. We're at Calipatria State Prison. I'm an LWOP, life without the possibility of parole, and I've been incarcerated for 21 years.
My name is Robert Ibarra. I've been here in Calipat since 2012. I'm an LWOP inmate. As of right now, the present, but future, I'll be free someday soon.
My name is Tremaine Wood. I'm also sentenced to LWOP, which is life without the possibility of parole. I'm from Los Angeles, California, South Central. Yeah.
When you get a sentence of life without the possibility of parole, see how I just exhaled right now?
Yes, sir.
It's an invisible weight on your shoulders. You're walking around in cement shoes. You're living in existence in a box with guys that are coming in and going out with their dates, and you don't have one.
When I first came in, this was, 20 years ago, it was more of, for me, like, what do I have to look for? Like, for us, we were the last of the Mohicans. We got everything last, jobs, programs. So it's like, what am I even, like, why should I even care?
We have an older brother within our community. The brother, he's like in his 60s. He's got a lot of physical ailments, and he's already accepted the fact that he's gonna die in prison. He said something to the fact of them putting his ashes in a cup and setting it up on a shelf in R&R, and it sits there for 2 years, and then it's discarded because he has nobody out there to snatch that. It just, like, it rocks you to the core. Like, you get a chance to glimpse your future, and you cling to whatever type of creature comfort that you might be able to get a hold of just to make this place more tolerable. And then you wonder why people seek chemical escape. You know, individuals get lost in the drugs and everything because they're looking for some type of way to wrap their mind around the fact that this is it. You know, waking up every day with no expectation of ever going home.
I was drinking a lot. The drinking was what was helping me continue. Like, you know, I was just drinking till probably more than likely I'd pass out. It wasn't about nobody else. I didn't care about what nobody else thought. I needed something to make me feel better, and that's where the violence came in at.
Well, you know what? I could tell you from my aspect, right? The days were gloomy. It was mostly cell time. And when you're in your cell and the little bit of yard that you have, you don't have no kind of outlet to any kind of positive programming. So if you're not in your cell trying to do something constructive or positive, then you're gonna gravitate to destructive habits, you know, even just in the cell and your thinking and the way you carry yourself.
What was the nickname of this prison back in the day?
The nickname?
Yeah.
Well, I would think it'd be all kind of nicknames. You know, I used to refer to it as the Bermuda Triangle. I know it's still, you know, got the reputation for, you know, the violence and all, Killer and all the negativity and destruction. And, you know, the tension in the air, you know, it was always palpable. You know what I mean? You didn't go to yard expecting to enjoy your full yard, you know?
Because anything can happen.
Something's gonna happen.
At any
you know?
moment.
It's always, you know.
What does that do to you mentally?
It gets you to expect the unexpected. If you've accepted the fact that you're gonna die in prison, then you've already accepted your worst fear. So now what's next? I ain't really got nothing, like, so, you know, taking hope away from an individual, and I don't want to, maybe I phrased that wrong because nobody took it. You know, I forfeited.
That's right.
My inalienable right of, you know, life and liberty. Like, that was, you know, my choices did that. But having hope removed from me, you know, stripped from my life, you know, it can create a dangerous individual.
With no hope, it didn't matter. And here already coming to where we're already labeled as like animals, you know, forgotten about. So it made everything a battlefield. Nobody cares about us. Only one person that can care about you is you. But at the same time, you had to look at it and think about it like, do I really care about myself?
Yeah.
Doing the stupid shit that we were doing?
Yeah.
I believe that a lot of people are scared of change because they don't know what's gonna happen.
Right. You give up something, you don't know what to put in there.
And that's what it is. We were scared to change. You get to the point where it's like, man, I'm 40 years old. Shit, I've been down this amount of time, I've been doing this. I got kids, I got wife, I got grandkids. It ain't about you no more. It's not you need to start focusing on making it better to make sure that these people out here know that you love them back.
For sure.
Someone could probably forgive you for something that you did to them, but sometimes if you're not understanding it, it's hard for you to even forgive yourself. You know, it's not that easy. when you don't understand a way or even how. It took me a long time to grasp certain things and understand certain things. And I know that these groups that I've been involved with has given me a stepping stone, because a lot of the groups are spiritual. You know, God is intertwined in all those groups. You know what I mean? There's no way that anything good, loving, caring, kind, forgiving is not from him. You know, everything that's good is from him, you know? So he's all weaved all in and out of the curriculums, you know? And I think there's a reason for that.
I think that most of us have suffered some form of traumas in our past that make us suffer from low self-esteem, you know, where we don't fully understand our value and we're living our life in such a way because we're seeking approval, you know, and acceptance. And, you know, for me, especially when there were very, very few examples on the yard of that change, to step out and be one of those individuals first. At some point, somebody has to step out there and start.
That's what real courage is.
Yeah, prison teaches you to, you know, treat relationships like they're transactional. Well, look, I ain't messing with dude. If I can't benefit from what I wanna, everything transactional. What do you got to give me? We got to get out of that way of thinking where everything has to be beneficial to you in a moment, or you're looking for some type of instant gratification in order for you to even deal with this person or do what it is that you're going to do. So when it comes to doing the work, it can be real discouraging real quick, and you can fall right back into that same, you know, frame of thinking, or you can fall into a rut and come close to becoming, you know, depressed and just wallowing in misery because you're not seeing the direct fruits of the, you know, of those labors, or you just kind of like sit back and reflect and be like, you know what, like, why should I even care?
Mm-hmm. My name is Rafael Acevedo. I'm currently associate warden, out of class position over operations here at Calipatria State Prison. Been here for 26 years. It's considered a maximum security. Cell living is predominantly in 3s and 4s. We're in a 270 design, meaning that the housing units have 270 degrees of peripheral vision from cell to cell. 180 inmates, higher level security.
And that's here still?
No, 180s are other institutions. We're at 270. So we're a level 4, but we're the lower part of a level 4.
You've been injured by prisoners before, correct?
Yeah.
Like multiple times, correct? I mean,
Calipatria had a lot of incidents involving staff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Calipatria has had its reputation, you know, for being a violent prison. Through the years, you know, it's upheld its reputation, but it's changed, and now it's calmed down.
So when the violence really slowed down, I think is level 4 GP institutions would hear about a myth of a level 4 lifer going home. It was a myth, you know, you wouldn't see it. And then BPH changed their
What's BPH?
Board of Prison Hearings, changed their approach on how they were.
They changed their paradigm, you know,
Their insight.
insight.
And so
How did they change?
They were able to look at the life of crime, and then the rehabilitation of the inmate while in CDC, to come down to their decision in regards to deny, and how they would deny an inmate the possibility of parole, or to see him suitable for parole.
When I first started working here, 7 to life was pretty much life. They weren't going home. I would say about 10 years ago is when doors started opening up. Of course, now we have a whole lot more self-help programs. Before it was just AA and A. When I first started, that was it. We have a lot to offer here now. I've seen a lot of inmates struggle with their addictions, and a lot of them were struggling. They weren't going home, so they didn't care if, you know, using drugs was just part of their lifestyle. They
Get
were
through
not
the day, complete absence
exactly.
of hope. You're able to look past the worst day of their life or the worst moment of their life, and you're able to see them as human beings.
Yeah, and a lot of times I don't even look to see what they're here for. I don't care
Doesn't
what they're here
matter,
for.
right.
God's their judge, not me.
Sure.
So as long as they respect me, I respect them. If they get into my programs, I expect for them to take it serious. I'm not there to have some bullshit program that you're just going to talk about anything and it, you know, we're gonna discuss the 12 steps.
Do the work.
Yes. And
Has she been strict with you?
No, very. Well, you know what? Mary's she comes from the best places, which she has a great heart. You know, she's very passionate, and for her to say that she cares about us, that's an understatement. You know, she really does have a soft spot for us. You know, and she's seen a lot of inmates at their worst. You know, showing up at their worst, but she's always been there as a positive influence for us and a shoulder to lean on. I had a really bad drug addiction. Okay, it took me a while to even have the power in myself, you know, to try and admit that to my family. I made bad decisions. I made bad choices. I was living bad. I had a destructive attitude. It took me a while to grasp a hold of some kind of hope. God works in everything, you know. He makes the bad that comes out of our lives or transpires in our life choices. He turns it around for our good.
A question I always ask is, think about what you did for your name out there on the streets that got you where you're at, right? What are you doing for your name in here to get you out to back where you go? Just a simple question, and that'll answer everything for you. And we constantly get involved in disciplinary actions here, constantly going to ADSEG, constantly getting involved in violence. Well, that's self-investment, whether it's positive or negative, right? But if you're constantly working to better yourself, right? Addressing victims' impact, you know, addictive personalities, then that's self-investment as well to try to get home. So the question asked is, what investment are you making into yourself and your name?
A yard kind of takes on, you know, the character, you know, of the captain, you know, and at the time I really came to interacting with Osvaldo. It was, you know, in the capacity of him being a captain, and I was working in the program office, and the culture of the yard changed immediately. For one, you know, his accessibility to, you know, making himself accessible to us, you know, being approachable, you know, and then when you go to him, getting a straightforward answer and follow through either way. If it was a yeah, it was a yeah, and it came true, and if it was a no, it's just a no-go. So respect in prison is just a universal principle. So out there and in here, respect is a big thing. But
Is it hard for you guys to sit down with each other or not at all?
No, myself and May have had plenty of conversations. You know, he was my inmate clerk on my yard when I was a captain on C yard, and plenty of conversations regarding the LWOP Alliance group, you know, where you have to deep dive some things. Even a conversation we had last week, you know, where, you know, he made a statement in regards to, you know, I've been sentenced to a walking death sentence. And my only question to him was, well, that, or can you see it as that you came to prison to find a better version of yourself? Because where would he have been if you would have still been on the streets, still been involved in illicit gang activity? Or did you come into prison to find yourself in a position where, you know, you're a paralegal, you know, you completed, you know, your education, you know, going to college, all these attainable and achievable goals? Were those the type of goals that you were chasing on the street? So the question is did you come to prison and find a better version of yourself? You know, and that's where the department's going right now.
Did that
true story
resonate with you?
Yeah, true story. Yeah. And I've had many conversations with Osvaldo where that paradigm shift, you know, look at the other side of the coin. And I told you this, you know, previously, that I do believe that, you know, this place probably saved me, you know, just the path that I was on, the way that I was making my decisions, the way that I viewed the world in general. And then just, you know, having a victim mentality, not from the sense of, you know, I'm a victim, I need help, but victim in the sense that, you know, feeling like you're a product of something rather than your own choices, you know. The only thing I'm a product of is my own choices. Now, find myself in this circumstance, what do I do with it? And the minute that you look at your circumstance different, it changes. Just a change of perspective, change your circumstances. So we did have that conversation about, you know, finding a better version of yourself. We also had another conversation where, you know, I felt like I was, you know, striving so hard to move the goalposts for myself on a personal level, just, you know, being seen for who I am. And he said, well, you know, basically it's like you're screaming in the room, you know, with the door closed. You know, you need to find ways to broaden your, yeah, Captain Acevedo said that. And it was just, you know, light bulb above the head moment where something turns on and it's like, wow.
A big part of why I was doing the things that I was doing out there when I was young, because I didn't feel the love that I was looking for. Mom was abusive. Dad's in here, he got life. And, you know, being abused as a child, it's like, why is this happening to me from someone that's supposed to be protecting me? My mother was hurt. My mother was going through some issues, which I found out later. And growth for me brings understanding. So now I understand a lot of things differently now with the love that I was looking for, whether it's 1, 2 people, my wife, my kids, grandbabies, and him. Like, other than that, I feel like that's all I need. Somebody might say, oh, well, I don't care, I don't need nobody. But that's just the pain talking. That's the pain that they haven't acknowledged yet, you know, because who wants to be alone, man? Nobody wants to be alone. Like, that's what makes things more harder and difficult, being alone, you know, being buried alive and you trying to crawl back out.
There you go.
To get, it's going to be tough.
It's
going to be, we know it's going to be tough, but you got to keep crawling out because you want that breath. I ain't ready to go yet.
There you go.
I ain't ready to let him take it. Go. And that's why when I always hear him when stuff get tough and stuff get hard, you got to do the work. You got to do the work.
What you guys have been able to do is galvanizing each other through support to be more accountable, to live in service, and ultimately to live a life of peace and hope, and that you guys really have this hope. And it seems to me like this hope has pervaded this entire institution. Laws have changed.
For sure.
Doors are open now that were no longer open. There's programs on the general population yard which were never around. But would you say that assessment was right on the role that the LWOP community especially has had in this prison?
I would say we're the spearhead of it, because I said I consider this sentence death by incarceration. So when you see the dead men walking with a folder in their hands, headed to a positive whatever program, NAAA, or, you know, people constantly pulling up on the LWOP group, and you see them just hanging out within earshot.
Now I can see a big difference. I mean, every ethnicity participates now, and in the past, not everybody would talk. You know? So it was like, I've seen a big change, and they're taking it serious. They want to be helped, and so I see a big difference. Now there's a waiting list for every self-help program. There's a long waiting list.
Reality is these programs and everything that's happening is a testament to the staff, the boots on the ground, the people that make it possible, the people that allow those inmates to come out of the cells to go participate in the programs, the sponsors that sit here and interact, you know, at a different level with these inmates, to create a positive and a strong culture here. We see the end results, you know, but it's those people that are working hard diligently that didn't get an opportunity to sit here behind this mic or the camera to talk to you, because to them that's their everyday grind. You know, and we only succeed because they're out there succeeding for us and putting in the work.
And I would have never thought that 3 years we'd be sitting here having a podcast in regards to change within our facilities, you know. But this is an attest to the hard work and dedication from the staff, starting from administration, you know, from our warden allowing us to provide these services. And again, highlight the fact that these inmates have put in the work. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, John. It's the inmate has to put in the work, you know, on the front end. He has to want to change.
Something else that started bringing the change to the yard is the fact that, you know, guys like Ray started coming in here. And when he came in here, he treated us as human beings. He said, whenever I bring people in here, no matter what their viewpoint, I just challenge them. You know, sit with these dudes for X period of time, and then just tell me what your thoughts are afterwards. Just being in proximity to us. And, you know, for him to come in and from the dribble, treat us as human beings, and then see that for the most part, since Calipatria has always had this stigma attached to it, and then since, you know, the elements and everything else make this such an undesirable place for somebody. I mean, I'm talking to John Bernthal on the podcast, you know, and for these things to start happening, and for the, you know, I'm sure you see it, the way you're greeted, everybody is just like, man, we're starting to see the hope come to life in front of us, you know, and it's because people, you know, not just, you know, thought about it, they got off their square and they did something about it. What you're seeing and what you're being greeted with is people who never believed something like this can happening in front of their eyes. And then, you know, by this happening, then what else can happen?
Totally.
You know, by this happening, man, maybe I can get out of prison. You know, by this happen, you know, maybe I can make my parents proud before, you know what I'm saying, before it's all said and done with.
I remember when I first met Ray, I told Ray, I said, man, you know, you're doing something awesome, man, you're doing something great. And being forgot about is something that's going to, like, damage. It takes away the hope. And he was like, no, man, I'm not going to do that, man. And I swear, you know, he started coming more and more and more and more. Oh, and I wrote, it was the COVID stuff went on, and I wrote him a letter. I don't know if he ever got the letter, but I was like, hey, man, that hope, man, it's and after that, he was here, and he's been here almost every week after that. Mm-hmm. So he gives a lot of hope. He gives us a lot of strength to continue. And now you're bringing some more feelings up in here, man. Don't take this away from us. I gotta tell you the same thing. Yeah. And I know you're a busy man out there. You know what I'm saying? But I need you to, you know, we all need this, man. We all need this to know that it's still people out there. It's more people out there other than our families and each other that cares about what we're going through, the struggle. Yeah. I would say for the people out there that don't know exactly what it is in here, I think that they should stop judging as much. Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't think that change is not possible in here, because no matter who you are or what you're doing, change is always there. It's on the individual if they want that. And it's a lot of us in here that wants that.
First and foremost, my God makes me hopeful. Second, my family. I mean, I don't know how they do it. The support system that I have is tremendous. I mean, and I have a small family, but they're there for me, rain, sleet, or snow. You know, they don't stop. You know, the laws that are changing now, everything's more hopeful. I mean, I remember when we didn't have as much hope as we do now. You know, I would have never have thought having this in the beginning, thinking that in the courts, that was my only hope. But now, just the laws changing with the recidivism rate of an LWOP inmate getting out and not coming back to prison, that's huge. That's less than 1%. You know, that means that if we get that chance to get out, from the things that we've obtained in here, from like people like Mary that's a sponsor here, we're not coming back.
Everything that I'm doing in my life, you know, is a process of me trying to live my amends. I'm not trying to hurt anyone, you know. A death is something that intimately connects people in a way that only people who have experienced it will understand. And I mean, I can't speak to anybody else's feelings, but I believe that I am connected to that family forever, you know, and I will forever be connected to that family, because at the end of the day, every year, that day is gonna come around, and I'm gonna remember, you know, what took place that day, and understanding that a family's suffering began and a whole, you know, was put in their lives that can never be filled. So, you know, we were talking about what's the foundation, and the foundation is responsibility, it's accountability, taking responsibility and being accountable for my actions. And we were talking about the disconnect, and I wasn't trying to trivialize it, but, you know, not being the actual man to take the life, and, you know, being in a state of denial. But at the end of the day, I was a cog in that wheel. You know, had it not been for me, you know, this situation never would have happened, you know. And So yeah, I expressed what was real to me. I expressed what was honest, and that's it.
I mean, I think I know the answer, but what do you want the most for the LWOP community?
Honestly, for them to find themselves, and I think from there, their path will be
But
laid
that's
out.
what's most important.
Yeah, that like, I believe for the most part, what you've heard is that they've just been walking around. You know, I believe one person said that they're the Walking Dead, that they've been sentenced to a life of death. I just truly hope that they find a better version of themselves and see that there's programs out there for them, and that participation is them, but they have to be willing to take that first step forward and hold on to something, right? And start working towards a goal.
You feel like that's what's happening?
I truly believe that this LWOP community has come together, and I believe that, you know, you have every single LWOP on that yard that's involved one way or another. Their growth and their path is at different levels and stages, right? But from what I see from the group in itself, is like leave no man behind. You know, they see one struggling, they go pick them up.
We have our affirmations, and one of my favorite in the affirmations is show your true character through your actions, not your words. To me, that's the most powerful one, and the one that I remember the most, because I don't try and act that. I try and be that at all times, you know, because the other inmates that need the positive influences, a positive role model, you'll be seen. You know, we're here with the same people all day long, and I'm trying to do something positive, not just for myself, but for those that are in front of me and behind me, you know, and to leave some kind of a legacy for the inmate population, that this is not the end of your life right here. You know what I mean? We can supersede anything negative that we've been through, that we put ourselves through, that we can overpass that, you know? And that's what the LWOP group is about, to give us faith and hope, and the curriculum speaks for itself.
Everyone out there, you know, can learn a lot by what's going on in here. And do you guys find that? Do you guys find that in life? Do you guys learn lessons in here that you feel like apply to the outside world? Is there something that you wish the outside world would see about these places?
I think there's lessons learned everywhere. Not just in prison, but anything that if you take the time to really look, right? And it gives you a sense, at least a minimum, a sense to appreciate what you have and what you don't have, what you can lose, you know? And I come back to it is at minimum, understand that time is the only thing you can never buy back or get back. And if you want a lesson from prison, is that, you know, is that how do the population here, how do they earn back the time that they've been gone? Whether it's a couple months, whether it's a year, whether it's 10 years, whether it's 15, whether it's 20. The one inmate that told you, he's been down 54 years. You know, how does he recoup that time and those moments? Because his moments are in a card, in a picture, in a postcard, right? But he's living those moments through somebody else's eyes. So if anything, it would be that message, you know, appreciate the time.